All right, good morning, John. I appreciate you joining us this morning.
Good to be with you.
We're not going to keep you long. I just want to talk to you. I'd just like you to share with the group just a couple of finer points, particularly how your PLN has helped you grow as an administrator, and how your growth has helped me grow, and our PLN grow as an administrator.
Yeah.
To start us off with, would you tell us a little bit about the EdFocus chat?
Sure. EdFocus is a chat. It's a book club. It's all done through Twitter. And that got started, I want to say, last August or so. And we read the book Focused by Mike Schmoker, and that's kind of how the group got named. We named it after that book, and we've read maybe 11 or 12 books since then. We read about a book a month. Sometimes it's been a little bit more because we've read a couple of shorter titles. But basically, it's a group of administrators from around the country. You're involved down in North Carolina. Justin Tart, who actually got the group started, is from Missouri. Bill Burkhead's from Massachusetts. Sam is from New Jersey, and Mike is a principal in North Dakota. And so really, and I'm in Michigan, and so that we're kind of the regulars, and then other people kind of filter in and out depending on the topic. But it got started in August, and basically it's just a professional book club, and we get together and we talk about the titles and talk about how that impacts our practice and how it kind of share some ideas that way. And it's been good. Number one, everybody starts out the year with the goal of reading more books, and it's been actually good to help keep me at least on track with, okay, I got to get my reading done. So it's been a nice accountability piece. But the other side of it is just swapping ideas with people and learning from people from around the country. We have a good group here in Michigan where I work, but the truth is you can always grow and you can always gain more from others. And so the bigger your network, the more you learn. The more you learn, the more you're thinking, and the better your organization does. I think if we're going to be the leaders of learning organizations, if we're going to be about learning for kids, we got to be about learning for adults too. And we got to walk the talk and be the example that we hope to see from the rest of our staff.
That's actually a great point. Great segue to the next talking point that I had about sharing and about learning from each other.
Right.
I remember, and I don't remember exactly the book, but I remember the chat, and we started talking about parental involvement and what are some efforts and things that we do to keep our parents involved. And it was a lively chat that night, and it inspired you to create a post, and actually a post and a plan for next year. Would you share a little bit about that with the group?
Well, our current reality, I think everybody that's on Twitter and participating is operating out of what their reality is. My current reality is that I am the principal of a middle school, and my population comes from our downtown area and our outskirts of our community. We're one of 3 middle schools, and we're out in a rather remote part of our district where it's not very built up. And so for us, we're out here by ourselves, and sometimes we get into a little bit of a struggle to get our parents to come in, and we get a little bit of a struggle to kind of boost up our community involvement, because for people who are coming from downtown, to our building, you're talking about a 10-minute trip, give or take. And so for us, my reality as the principal of this school is I believe in community relationships. I believe in getting parents involved. But the truth is some logistics get in the way of that. And so I have to be thinking about, what could I do? Well, how could I get parents more involved? How could I get parents here into the building to participate? And so we were having a chat on EdFocus. I don't recall which book it was, but one of the books that we talked about had a community involvement piece, and I started asking some questions about what some other people were doing, and some people threw back some ideas. You were one who had done some parent walkthroughs in your building where you had parents come in and go do some instructional rounds with you, and that kind of resonated. And then there were some other people that threw out some other things that, some of them stuck and some of them wouldn't work for me. But long story short, I took those ideas and reflected on them, thought about some ideas that I had on my own, and really put together what I think is a pretty comprehensive plan that we're going to roll out next year. We're going to have instructional walkthroughs with parents. We're going to have a couple of invite your parent to lunch days where parents are going to come up and eat lunch with their children in the cafeteria, and that'll just be like an open forum where they're there and they're having fun with their child. But then afterwards, we're going to try to hold on to them for a little bit to have kind of a quick conversation about, to get some feedback from them. How are we doing? How is your child's experience here? What are they saying at home? What are you hearing? Just so we get a better feel for that. We're going to have some coffee with the principal events. And one of the other things we're talking very seriously about is to get a book club going. We're trying to, as we're trying to kind of enter into the 21st century with education, I think some of our parents are stuck in a mindset of what happened for me. And this was my education, this was my story, and I think we've got to show them how our profession is changing and how our landscape is changing and how things like technology are changing. I think there's some people, at least in the community that we're in, that see technology and are skeptical and say, well, I did fine with a pencil. What do you need? Why do you need the money to buy these goods? Why do you need to have a wireless infrastructure? Why do you need those things? And we know we need that. We know it, but it's for better engagement. We know it would help us deliver a better service, but it's really communicating that out. And so we really want to get a book club going to talk about some things like the global achievement gap, to talk about literacy, to talk about kind of the changing, and to talk about some of the new ideas in education that are out there. So our parent plan started with that chat. Well, it started with my reality, followed to the chat to get ideas of what other people were doing, and now has become kind of a comprehensive plan for next year that we're super excited about to put in place, because I think at the end of the day we're going to have more parent participation than we've ever had before, which is going to be really unique for this building. And as we start to kind of push more towards that, I think it's going to do nothing but really good things for us. And I know that you could probably throw my post up if edge presentation so people can see it for themselves, or can read it for themselves and steal ideas from it or make suggestions to it. I'm definitely open to new ideas. And I'm sorry to keep looking over, but people keep walking by.
Well, that's no problem. And you can bet that I have dedicated a whole page, a couple minutes to talk about that post and this experience. Again, we're going to go into a lot more detail here.
Good.
One last point, and this goes back to what you said earlier about sharing, about growing, about this is a responsibility for everybody. Mm-hmm. You've had a very unique experience and a unique initiative in your district, particularly with your administration, and you've used Twitter and some other tools for your professional learning network development in your district. Could you talk to us a little bit about that?
We work in Michigan. We're organized. Each community has their own school district, which is different from some other states. And then we're broken up, just like everywhere else. We're broken into counties. But in Oakland County, where I work, we've got about 28 school districts, and that creates the opportunity to really share ideas across a district. Our ISD, Oakland Schools, does a tremendous job, and they do a really beautiful job of getting people together. But really and I talked with one of the consultants from Oakland Schools, and we kind of agreed, hey, we need to figure out how to harness the power of technology here, because at the end of the day, when you're going to these county meetings, that means you're not in your school. And you want to be in your school, you want to be with your kids as much as you possibly can during the year. So what could we do to kind of get people together to talk, to swap ideas without missing the day? That really became kind of where we were coming from. So a suggestion was made to get a Twitter hashtag going where people could just post and just kind of swap articles and ask questions. And so we got started with hashtag OC Principals, Oakland County obviously, and we had some people there who were posting questions, we had some people sharing articles, we had some people getting involved, and slowly but surely we had more people getting involved. So one day I put it out there in about January to say, what if we had a chat, local chat, OC Principals, and because I have connections nationally via Twitter, we had some national people jump in, and I think you jumped in on one of them, and I know Bill Burkhead from Massachusetts jumped in on a couple, but it was just a great way to get everybody together to swap out ideas. So we had a chat about Tier 1 instruction as part of the RTI process. What's great Tier 1 instruction? What's it look like in your building? What kind of programs do you have? We had one about teacher evaluation, because in Michigan, we've revamped our whole teacher evaluation system. So how is that impacting your school? What are you doing? And so it's really been more action-oriented, and it's really been more local. And the upside to that has been we've had some local connections happen, where we've had somebody in the very northern part of our county connect with somebody from the very southern part of our county, and we've had those people get together and kind of say, I'm going to come visit your school, you're going to come visit my school, I want to see this program, you want to see that program. So it's promoting more collaboration within our county, within our within our area, and really kind of opening up some local ties and some local collaboration and some local sharing that wouldn't have otherwise arisen. It's very unlikely that I would have emailed the principal of a school 40 miles away to say, hey, do you have any great programs going on that you'd like to tell me about? But we're all there under the presupposition that, hey, we're at this Twitter chat to share ideas. We all start sharing ideas, and the next thing you know, I'm connected with a principal from Farmington who's saying, we've got this math program going, and it's really going well. So, it's really opened up some doors that otherwise wouldn't have been, and that's been a real plus.
That's cool. And I love the piece that you just hit on. These relationships, the sharing, and it normally, or it possibly would not have happened to this level, to this degree.
Correct.
And it's not that there's anything, any pre-existing animosities or anything like that. It's just the nature of the PLN, especially through Twitter and the tools that we're using. It really facilitates relationship building.
It does.
It really facilitates the sharing.
Yeah, it does. We're in a business that's about relationships. That's at the very core of what we all do in education. That's why we get into it. And so it's just another, Twitter just opens the possibility of creating those relationships on a bigger scale. More relationships, more learning. It's a better service for your consumer. It's just,
Absolutely.
It's good all the way around.
Absolutely. John, that's really all the main